Welcome to today's episode of Health University, where I have the pleasure of interviewing as my guest Dr. Jenna Hua, and she is the CEO and founder of Million Marker. And I learned about Jenna's work through our mutual colleague and on her medical board of advisory, Dr. Amy Avazadeh, the egg whisperer. And the more I read about Jenna's work, the more I realized, there's such a synchronicity to what I'm espousing with our fertile health program, the Your Fertile Health program, and what Jenna is offering and suggesting and recommending with Million Marker. So Jenna, welcome. I'd love to get a little bit of background about how did this come about? How did you find yourself? And I know a little bit because I've done a little bit of research, but I want the audience to hear, how did Million Marker come about?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, Susan. I admire your work, and I love this online university providing education to everyone, is particularly for women going through their fertility journey. So I love it. The origin of Million Marker, there are two parts to it. One part is the professional reason. During my research from PhD postdoc, I realized that we basically have no data to study environmental exposures and how does environmental exposure actually impact our fertility and health, and how do we offer personalized approach to let people know about their own exposure. Because given you and I have different genetics, even if we have the same exposure, we would respond very differently. So how do we have this tailored, personalized intervention plan and strategy for individual to understand their own exposure and do something about it? There's complete lack of data. So that was on the professional side. I felt that, since no one is reading my papers in academia anyway, I should probably do something else.
To get it to the people. Yes. Beautiful. Yeah. And you do make a good point. And if you don't mind, I would like to just reiterate the importance of noting that while we are all exposed to environmental toxins or other ways of toxins accumulating in our bodies, how we react to them and what we might need to do with them are unique to our own physiology and our own internal and external environment. So I think that is really an important point, that we don't just do this generalized detox, because that could take forever and it could actually be depleting. So thank you for that. And please continue.
Yes. And also, environmental exposure actually accounts for more than 70% of your chronic disease risk versus about 30% coming from your genetics, which makes it even more important for us to understand and then do something about it. And so on the personal side, I had a lot of fertility struggle myself. I had 4 late-stage miscarriages, and doctors couldn't figure out what's going on with me. The answer I got was good luck next time.
Oh.
So it was very unsatisfying. So I was just looking for answers myself. And I did all kinds of tests, possible genetics to other tests. And there was when I was going to the doctors and I was asking, since I studied environmental exposure and I wanted to know particularly my exposure, I eat well, I exercise, I sleep well, I felt that I've done everything I could, yet I still have the fertility struggle and I had no family history. But when I went to the doctor, I'm asking, can I test my environmental exposures? And the only answer was, we only have heavy metal. Other than heavy metal, there's no other test. But we have literally been studying environmental toxins, particularly these transient toxins people have heard about, BPA, phthalates, and all these things. We're literally been studying it for decades.
We have the research. Yes.
Exactly. How could we not have a test and letting people know their own exposures? So I was just extremely frustrated. Yeah. So given the tools we have, the tests we have, I just wanted to make something for myself and then for people who are in this journey and wanting to understand their exposures, even for a sense of assurance, because I felt like I've done everything I could. And I just want to know, could this be the reason, or just offer me a sense of assurance that, okay, I can move on. This is not something that I need to worry about. So I just wanted that. That was a personal reason why I started a Million Marker.
Beautiful, beautiful. And how many markers? I mean, is it truly a million that that the test will investigate?
We aspire to do that. That's really cool that you, I think you get it, like, where people always say, million marker, what does that mean? Like, our goal is to be able to one day discover over 1 million biomarkers so that we can inform individual health and then offer personalized strategies to optimize your health. Yeah. Right now, we offer 13 biomarkers, urinary biomarkers of environmental toxins, but we're hoping one day with the data we're collecting, we'll be able to do that.
Well, I would just extrapolate that 13, if you find any one in 13, you're finding more than one. You might be finding the million, right, in that one marker. So it's just, I think it's a matter of drilling down in the science to get to that stage where you've got 1 million markers. That I really purport, being of Chinese medicine, training, that the one marker could uncover 1 million reasons why things aren't working. And conversely, working with that one marker can give you a multiple fold benefit when you start implementing the changes that this marker has identified for you.
Oh, absolutely. Because, in your university, you teach people about nutrition, stress management, including hydration and then detoxing. Mm-hmm. So it's your body pretty much same as the, Chinese medicine. The principle of it, it's your whole body system and everything is connected, so by taking the first step, understanding, where this marker is coming from, why am I high? What can I do about it? It could actually help with your nutrition, help with other aspects of your health.
Right. The microcosm is the macrocosm. The macrocosm is the microcosm. So it's just a different way of looking at it. And then, following the path to holistic health, because if you're fixing whatever is causing the follicular or ovarian quality struggle, then you're fixing much more than that. And I'm really grateful to realize in the world of reproductive endocrinology that group of specialists, these wonderful doctors, are actually like stepping back. They've done their deep dive into the tech and have been able to do all of the finessing of the IVF and egg freezing process. And now they're taking a step back and saying, well, wait a minute, what are these markers showing us about the whole health of this woman's potential pregnancy, postpartum, baby's health, mama's health in her, later years. So it really is not a one moment in time. This one moment in time is reflective of now and the future.
Yes, I think reproductive endocrinologists are the group of doctors who are pioneering these knowledge and then letting their patients understand this is important. But we're actually really hoping all primary doctors, actually all doctors, should be trained during their medical training about these things, simply because these exposures are tied to literally every condition you could potentially have.
Right. Yes, I would agree. And I would say that to the extent that anyone in the medical system or healthcare system can utilize these, it really can avert the rabbit hole of then treatment for a symptom or a sign that then masks the issue underlying it, that then leads to more signs. And then before you know it, you can't figure out, where did it start and how do I approach it? So yeah, that's wonderful. And then who can access the million marker test? Is it open to the public?
It is open to the public. I think that's the whole goal, that we have a direct-to-consumer model. People can simply go to our website and then order the test.
And the website is millionmarker.com, and all of this information will be in the notes below. So please take a look at the notes below so that you can access both the website, all of its wonderful content. And again, I smile because I look at your content and I think, we could have written this together because it looks very similar to mine, and that makes me so happy. But then also your social media handle, because I think it's important. That is how we're communicating this larger message out to the populations at large, is much more through social media than the one person to one test model. So when you think generally, oh well, let me rephrase this. Now I won't take it generally. When you have reviewed tests, is there a tendency for women of reproductive age in their million marker results to find a particular marker that you would say, here's an example, a red flag. We see a lot of this. 50% of the people come back with this marker. Is there anything like that you could speak to?
Yes. So right now we test for 13 biomarkers, and that's including BPA, BPS, BPF. So bisphenol, this category, one of the major plasticizers, and it's using plastic, making plastic shatterproof, and it's used in can linings. It's used to coat receipt paper. So everything we test are hormone disrupting chemicals, and I think your audience probably already know that we don't want any hormone disrupting chemicals because they mess with our hormones. And, if your hormones are not in balance, you can think about all the downstream impact it could have, particularly on fertility. So BPA is one of them. And since BPA has been banned, thanks to conscious mothers in a lot of product, what manufacturers started doing is using these alternatives, which are BPS, BPF. They can literally swap a letter. You could have an alternative from BPA all the way to BPZ or any combination of those. And research have shown that these alternatives are just as bad, if not worse, than BPA. Because we have no regulation in our panel, we also included these alternatives. But across the board, we have seen, because of the BPA ban, we have seen people's BPA level have been dropping and dropping. That's reflected in our people have used million marker tests as well as in the national average. So we have seen that. So, and most of the people can be, conscious about, don't touch receipt, eat less canned food, trying to eat more fresh food. By doing that, obviously you can also optimize your nutrition. So we don't see a lot of high in bisphenols.
Okay.
We do see quite a bit high in phthalates. So phthalates is another chemical that's also a major plasticizer used in plastic to make plastic flexible. So think about that saran wrap and any flexible plastic, they could potentially have phthalates.
I'm also thinking of skincare and hair care products, right? That make it that sort of almost elastic feeling on your skin, whether it be nail polish or, a hair conditioner or something like that. That's going right into your bloodstream, without any opportunity to detox until it has a pass through your liver already.
Yes, personal care, household cleaning products are major exposure sources for phthalate, particularly low molecular weight phthalates. And the phthalates are it actually like blocks testosterone. So phthalates actually impact male or male babies the most. Obviously also impact female, but it's really important. And there have been research showing that phthalate could be the culprit for causing male fertility decline and sperm quality decline.
Absolutely. I mean, all of this makes sense to me that these environmental toxins are, their onset into our everyday use is just equated in timeline to the onset of infertility. And this idea that I'm delighted that infertility has been given a disease diagnosis so that more people can access care. So because it's got that code, but I'm also a little heartbroken because that doesn't address the problem that would help reverse. I call it bust the infertility myth, because I don't believe we are born infertile. I believe it is this onslaught on our body that our body finally says, we just don't have any more downstream to offer you. And then that becomes an infertility diagnosis. So just to recap, what I'm hearing you say is get rid of the phthalates, get rid of the plastics, drink out of glass. I did see you said, a BPA-free lined, water container. I'm a little partial to glass because it just feels like a simpler way to make sure that there aren't BPAs. And then is there a resource that you would recommend for the listening audience in terms of these house care, personal care products? I mean, I go to Environmental Working Group, but that can be a little tricky too. So I want to hear, is there any deeper dive that you've done that you would say, oh, actually, instead of that, try this?
Yes. So we actually curated a list of approved product on our website. People can check it out. That's ranging from household cleaning product, kitchen products, to personal care products like shampoos, conditioners, sunblocks, deodorant, oral care. So you can find a lot of products on our website. We do use, I think we use a lot more stringent criteria than EWG, but EWG is a great resource for people to check it out. So if people are on the go, you can check out EWG. Also have a healthy living app where you can find products on there. There's also Made Safe. They also have done certifications. And there is also another app called Clearia that you can also use that app to facilitate shopping. We don't have an app using, have this information, but you can also check out our website.
The website.
But be, conscious that even if I think it's a really great first step to use these resources, but also be very careful. This is not 100%. No one is 100%.
Right.
It's unfortunate that we don't really have a lot of testing going on, even though these potential products are, certified EWG or Make Safe certified, but none of these products have actually been tested. So contamination can still happen.
Right. It's like the lesser of two evils kind of option, right? So, you're safer with that than you might be with something really toxic, but it is not a toxin-free, solution. And personally, I find that a lot of the best products are, make it yourself at home, and then the economy is there. I mean, you can't get a more economical house cleaning product than white vinegar or baking soda for your teeth, or all of these things that are just right there in your shelf anyway, and you use them for, for maybe a laundry wash or something, or making the refrigerator smell pretty. But these are items that we can really use daily and save a lot of money on not adding to toxins in our body or pollutants in the landfill, for that matter.
Absolutely. We want people to become conscious shoppers. Yes. So making sure you read your product labels and making sure, if you want to be absolutely sure, avoid any fragrance. Fragrance is like the number one culprit for phthalates and many other chemicals. It could be made of more than 3,000 chemicals. It just, the manufacturers never really disclose what's actually in that fragrance. Right. So we also tell people, don't be fooled by, if you don't see that fragrance in the ingredient, manufacturers or brands could be using perfume, could be using aroma.
Yes.
And also pay attention on that unscented, because unscented is actually a scent. It doesn't mean it's fragrance free.
Oh, that I go with that. Unscented does not necessarily mean there is no scent. It does not necessarily mean that it doesn't have fragrance. It has been masked. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. I was unaware of that. I just learned something as of this moment. So that's key. And yet women will often like to have a scent, a fragrance. Are you of the mind that using like an essential oil with some witch hazel and water will do the trick?
So essential oil is a really interesting topic. I mean, there's literally also decades of research. There are, aromatherapy and all these good stuff have to do with essential oil, and essential oil have their, health promoting property. Mm-hmm. The issue with essential oil is, again, this lack of testing, lack of regulation, that we don't really know if this essential oil is actually good quality or not. Mm-hmm. So I'll give an example. There are stats showing that about 50% of the essential oil in the market today actually is synthetically made and not actually from the plant. So when you see this essential oil or natural fragrance or whatever, there's no guarantee this essential oil is actually naturally made, because pretty much 50%, even though it's essential oil, the world's plant supply is actually could not make all the essential oils actually in the market. So be very careful. And even if it's like a real essential oil, you actually don't know how this essential oil is being distilled or processed. Because, think about like, okay, we need to get that essential oil from plant, extract it, and then put it in the product. So if that extraction process is done using, for example, plastic tubing and heated at a high temperature to extract that.
Right.
Exactly.
You're going to get essential oil plus plastic in your essential oil.
So basically everything from that plastic tubing or in the processing just leach into that wonderful essential oil. Then you kind of like, okay, am I actually getting a benefit from that essential oil while I'm just like ingesting all these toxins?
Right, because you're applying that to your underarms instead, or you're diffusing that in your room and inhaling it in larger quantities because it's coming in smaller particulate. Very interesting. Very interesting. Oh, dear.
Exactly. And also essential oil is something that, essential oil is also something that super concentrated, right? So this also makes it a little daunting because it's really concentrated. Then it basically, any other during distillation or extraction, any chemical you have is also super concentrated in that essential oil, which makes it a little bit scary. So to me, I think I understand people like a little bit of smell. I like it too. But for absolute safety, I would still avoid it unless you can check with the manufacturer, hey, are you making this essential oil properly extracted and from a good source?
Maybe get a certificate of analysis that where you can really determine and be certain that this particular product is in fact organic and its distillation process is safe. So those are very, very good points for people to take away. Thank you. When someone has their test results and says, "Whoops, I find myself high in one or two markers," what is your course of action for this person, we're going to say for this woman at this time, or this person who is trying to conceive?
So we actually offer two type of testing. I mean, it's the same testing, but sort of a two type of service. One is test only, means people just do a test, pee in a cup, and send it back to us, and then we'll get it processed. And then you get a report outlining your levels, how you compare with our existing users, how you compare with the national average, and some generalized strategies, how you reduce your exposure. We also offer a white glove service. So this allows us to personalize, tailor where your exposures are coming from and what you can do about it. And the white glove service is obviously a little more involved. So what we do is before people submitting their urine sample, we actually do a lifestyle audit in which we ask you about what you have consumed food-wise in the last 24 hours. Did you consume packaged food? How are you cooking your food? What kind of kitchen utensil are you using? What kind of pots and pans are you using? What kind of food storage you're using? And also, out of all the product you're using, what are shampoos and makeups and anything you use in the last 24 hours. So then we take that information, we do the audit, we'll audit the ingredients from all the products that you're using and highlighting what are the potential harmful ones and even any other ingredients or concern that we see any study. Even if we don't test that ingredients or we don't test that biomarkers in your urine, we still let you know. So next time that you go shop, you can buy a better product. Then we incorporate that information with your test results, then in your report, you'll get much more comprehensive report. And you can also set up a call with us for potential, like a short counseling sessions or answering any questions you may have.
Do you make recommendations for things such as infrared sauna or IV therapy or detoxification supplementations like methylation or milk thistle kind of products?
We kind of defer back to experts like you. We actually don't have expertise in-house to actually facilitate people to use additional supplements or IV therapies or anything like that. But we do point out the good products people can use and then general strategy about nutrition. And if people want to go in deeper dive about, I want a dietary plan to help me detox, or I want a supplementation plan, that's when we refer back to experts like you.
Thank you. That's wonderful, because on my side of the visitation is that oftentimes these women, are feeling already that the time is ticking. And so they do want to do as much as they can, some version of give me the entire, the entire list of things to do, and I'll do them all I'll do what I can, because sometimes it's too stressful to do all the things. And they really can help expedite the process, right? Infrared can really help expedite a detoxification process. Certain supplementation, including something as simple as B vitamins, can help instigate the detoxification process. But typically, I have found that a 4-week protocol, for lack of a better term, I'm trying not to use that word, but I can't find another, can be a really good start because of how our organs detoxify. So to really, double down and circle the wagons, whatever phrase you like to use, for 4 weeks, and which is a menstrual cycle, can really find some significant improvements. Do you find that to be the case, or do you think that it takes a little longer than that? And of course, I know the answer is somewhat, dependent upon just how toxic the load is.
We have seen, these are all the chemicals that we're testing are transient chemicals, means your body actually have the natural detox system to get rid of them, largely in urine. And theoretically speaking, if you avoid these chemicals, your body should be able to clear them out within 48 hours.
48 hours.
Yes. But oftentimes people don't change their behavior that quickly. Mm-hmm. So I think minimally, usually when people ask for, okay, when is a good time if I want to retest myself? Mm-hmm. We usually tell people that after you at least implement a healthier lifestyle following the recommendation we've made, or your doctors have the plan have made it for you for at least 2 weeks before you retest.
Okay, very good. So we have a little agreement on that as well. Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it's not only just how rigorous someone will address it, but sometimes it really is. It's just simple, lack of knowledge. Like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that thing that I've been having that I know is healthy is not healthy for me because of this marker. And so another week has gone by before they've removed that thing that is impeding their detoxification process.
It's also, I think, longer term, it's also good for people to think about maintenance, because these chemicals they're literally everywhere. It's everything you comes in touch, you use, you could expose yourself to these things. So we call it like a life course approach. You literally need to be learning and thinking about this all the time. For example, when you go to a store, don't touch that receipt. And that's not just today. It's literally the rest of your life. You should be thinking about that. That's
not just while you're trying to conceive, and it's not just
exactly
while you're pregnant. It's forever and ever. You don't need to be handling that toxin right at your fingertips, but then you scratch your eye or rub your nose or cover your mouth when you cough, and before you know it, you've just increased the load. So yes, nobody needs to see those receipts. Get them emailed to you.
Absolutely. But we think, pregnancy or actually preconception, this is actually the best time for anyone to implement these changes and then do detox. Because if you think about it, this is like literally where you get the biggest bang for the bucks that you are spending, and also changing your lifestyle. Not only you're making yourself healthier, you're creating a great environment preconception for your unborn baby, and that's ensuring you having as healthy of a pregnancy as you can have. And then during this process, you're already adopting this healthy lifestyle, and then when your baby is born, literally you already have this whole thing set up. You're setting up your baby for success.
Yes
Why not?
Absolutely. And would you confirm for me that, in my opinion, especially in the sort of preconception, pregnancy, postpartum timeframe, one of the most important organ systems of the body is not just the liver detoxification, but the brain. That baby's brain is just so susceptible to the effects of these toxins. And so we all want smart future smart contributing members of society. So you're helping yourself, you're helping your baby, you're helping society and civilization at large. So
Yes, what we have also seen is that these chemicals can pass on to even the second generation.
Right.
That means it's not just in fact affecting your baby, but it's actually affecting your grandkids in the future.
You're thinking the PCOS condition, the polycystic ovarian condition, that's one of the first ones.
Not just PCOS, like PCO, but including like sperm quality, egg quality. You could be impacting the following generation, which is a little bit scary, but at the same time, it's like if you actually make changes, exactly echoing what you just said, it's benefiting the future generation.
Right. This is not a fatalistic moment. This is actually an opportunity to say, not in this household, not in this body, not in my progeny. So that's fantastic. And I want to be respectful of your time. I try to keep to make sure that both my guest and my audience isn't listening to me yammer on forever. But is there anything we missed in this conversation that you want to say, oh, but this is an important piece. I really want to make sure the listeners get to hear this.
I want to mention one other chemical, which is really, we've seen across the board, many people have high levels, is also paraben. So paraben is a preservative used in personal care products. And don't be fooled that parabens are oftentimes also added as preservative in packaged foods, except they don't label it as paraben. It's labeled a different name. So again, if you actually trying to get rid of parabens and using better product and eat out less and eat less packaged food, not only you're improving your routine with your personal care, but you're also improving your nutrition. So that's one other thing I want to mention.
I mean, I personally will say, a safe rule of thumb is if in terms of whole foods, and I don't mean the company, I mean the actual food. If you know that you hold this in your hand or you view it and you say, okay, I know where this came from. This came from a tree. This came from the ground. This came from underneath the bottom of a chicken, or the chicken itself, or the salmon in the stream. That's food. Kind of everything else isn't. And so we are made to detoxify from a certain level. We're able to do that. But if this is a repeated onslaught to our bodies, first, we're not getting nutrients, and second, we're not giving ourselves a chance to detoxify. And I'm going to delay us just one more minute because I want to make sure we touch on sleep as the time frame of detoxification. We've done the circulation part, with exercise and infrared, and in my program we also use a TENS unit to really help drive blood flow directly to ovaries and uterus for the fertility phase. But so often our patients in my practice, and then the clients and the course, really struggle with sleep patterns. Would you like to speak to that for a moment?
Sleep is really important. Sleep has been tied to, again, detoxification. And I think it's less mentioned in Western medicine, but obviously in ancient Chinese medicine, other type of ancient medicine, it's really, really important. And your body literally detox, between, I'd say, like 12 a.m. to 4 a.m., sort of in this large time frame. And we also a little bit
from 11 to 7.
11 to 7. That's even. 11 to 7. And we actually have seen research that, people who have night shifts, people who work night shift, they have way worse health outcome than people who actually have their regular sleep. And and we also call it beauty sleep, right? It speaks for itself. If you want to be beautiful, you want to be healthy, you better get your sleep.
That's true. And just out there in Google land, you can just Google the Chinese clock, and you will see which organ systems are having their turn for detoxification and restoration through the sleep cycle between 11 p.m. It starts with the liver at that phase, and then by 7 a.m. it's at the large intestine. And so all the organs of the body, and when I say organs, I'm speaking of the Chinese medicine organs that are inclusive of our organs in Western medicine, but have a wider, how shall I say, I don't really have the word, application for our whole life. So, for instance, the liver is not only detoxifying and our toxins and making hormones, but it also has to do with our creativity, for instance. Because when we're feeling kind of funky, we're not very creative. So And that's just a simple example. But so if this concept of the importance of sleep is something that you go, no, I don't buy it, but you want to try it, just check out that clock, because this has been going on for about 5,000 years, and that's pretty much a nice body of evidence, in my opinion. So, okay, well, with that in mind, I know I keep asking you if there's anything else, and then I keep talking over you. I apologize for that, but it's such an engaging conversation. I can't help myself.
No, I love it. I think maybe we can end it leaving people some tips for them to start their detox journey. So number one is avoid plastic at all costs. I mean, plastic is everywhere. You can't avoid it all, but you should avoid as much as you can, particularly food and drink containers. Anything you store your food, anything. Okay, plastic number one. Second, we talked before, avoid fragrance, perfume, aroma, unscented. And third is eat organic. And then, as you mentioned, like hold that piece of food and then making sure you know where it's coming from. And four is, we didn't really touch upon this much, but we mentioned a little bit in the beginning, is purify your water, because water actually, hydration is really important. Making sure you actually have a good source of water is really important. Any water filter is better than no filter. So make sure you get a filter. If you can have your hands on a reverse osmosis water filter, that's sort of a catch-all filter, and use that. And lastly, be a mindful shopper. Don't touch receipts, bring your own shopping bag, and read labels.
Right. Wonderful. I think that's plenty to take away, especially in this time of holiday shopping and all of that, where we're out possibly a little bit more than on a typical, I don't know, autumn day. So be mindful of all of these while you're gathering, while you're preparing. It really does come down to that you're being more loving to yourself, your own body, your future progeny, your friends and family and loved ones who are gathering around you. So now is the time. There's no time like the present. And once again, all of the notes will be inside, below in the content. So please do check out millionmarker.com. Please check out, is it Million Marker? Is that the IG handle, or is it your own handle that you want?
It's million_marker.
Million_marker. And here again, you can just click through down below, but I want to make sure people follow you and learn these tips and tricks, because you're so generous with the free offerings that you're giving the community out there. So thank you, Jenna. I would love to invite you back at another time, because I think we could continue this and take a deeper dive in the new year. How's that?
Love it. I love this engaging conversation, and thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Okay, until next time, folks, we will wish you a happy holiday season, and we look forward to talking next.